Hey folks, it's Marc Maron, the host of the WTF podcast. You're watching Comedy Matters TV. This is TV. Please subscribe for him, for Jeffrey. Is he still in the frame? Okay.
Hey, so I'm here on the patio of the Hyatt Regency in Montreal with Marc Maron. How are you, Marc?
I'm good, Jeffrey. Nice to see you and your hair.
Always good to see you too, man. You've had a spectacular year. You've really
It's been very exciting. I think I'm going to keep my insurance and earn a living this year. That's a very amazing thing in show business.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Colin spoke about it the other day at the keynote speech.
Yeah.
About how I don't know if you were there or not, but he talked a lot about fear and about the ups and downs of the business. That he had his own show several times, and then all of a sudden he's looking for work, and that the business is so crazy that you can't really count on anything. It's so hard.
I don't know that people will really get into this they're like, I want to make a secure living and have a good pension.
Right.
I don't think. No, they walk in like, I want to be a star. But look, at a certain age, you really just don't want to die broke. So that's what it comes down to. Everything else is just gravy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So how's the show going? You have a new show called Maron on IFC. Is that correct?
Yeah, I just did 10, and they were well received. We've just been re-upped for 13, so we're going to begin that production process shortly.
Well, congratulations, re-upped for 13. After how many episodes did they see before they re-upped you?
All 10, Jeffrey. It wasn't like they saw 2 and like we got a winner here. No, they saw 10 and they did their math and they're like, all right, I think we can do this. Yeah.
Oh, that's phenomenal.
It's exciting.
For people who haven't seen it, tell me a little bit about the concept of the show. Obviously, it's you, but
yeah, it's a real stretch, Jeffrey. It's about a guy whose comedy career crapped out and left with no options began interviewing people in his garage for a podcast. He's a guy that is a bit aggravated, a bit neurotic. He's been married twice, and life is sort of always surprising because it never quite does what it's supposed to do.
No, but somehow you managed, which is the great skill. You managed to take negatives and turn them into positives. Like
today, Jeffrey. Today.
Well, today, yeah. But I mean, at the time you're going through it, it doesn't.
Talk to me in 2 hours. I'll let you know my progress on that.
No, but I mean, for instance, look, you take a divorce, a painful divorce, you make a show out of it. Becomes a hit show. It was at the Bleecker Street Theater. What was that show? Burning?
Scorching the Earth. Yeah, I don't know if it was a hit show, but it certainly made an impact on the people that saw it. At the time, I just needed to be talking about it somewhere. Maybe therapy would have been a better place, but I think I did generate some good jokes about it. But at the time, I was workshopping it, just trying to put something together, and Time Out New York wrote about it, and I didn't expect anybody to write about it. And they say the amazing thing about this show is Maron seems to have no hindsight whatsoever, and you feel like he's going through it as you're watching it. And I'm like, isn't that amazing? That's exactly what's happening, which to me meant like it's a long shot that this could be a consistent piece of theatrical work, but if you can witness it before he kills himself or gets better, you might want to do that.
Which is what made people flock to it. I mean, the level of honesty was astonishing. I remember having physical reactions to it while I was there. I mean,
what gas or what is a physical reaction?
Nervous, like hand sweating, like a knot in the stomach.
I hope he's okay, this guy. Right. That's what you want from a theatrical experience, is to leave going, he seems to be in trouble. I hope he's okay, that guy.
We were all pulling for you. Like, I hope he makes it. Like after the show, what's he going to do?
There's no real closure in this show. Right. No happy ending on this one.
And so then you wind up taking a bout of depression and winding up in your garage and creating the second biggest podcast, I think, in history, like next to Adam Carolla. Yeah. I think yours is the second biggest. Okay. But coming out of a depression, which is like amazing.
Well, what it was really like, is that you get to a certain point in life where you dedicate your life to something and it doesn't work out. So, I mean, I'm sure you've experienced this.
Absolutely. Yes.
You're
very kindly.
You all of a sudden you're in your mid to late 40s and you're like, fuck this, I could always... Wow.
Be a dentist.
No, you can't. All those, that whole Plan B folder, those opportunities have gone. So I sort of had to accept that I was where I was and how to move forward. So that was that.
But the courage that it takes, like there's this inner
weird thing is, it's inner strength, but also it was just the fact that I put myself in a position where I talk to other people, and the only way you're going to get out of yourself, as you know, is talking to other people. So I think the first year of the podcast was really me sort of coming back into the world, out of this miserable time. And it was by talking to other people, and that sort of defined the style of the show. Was like, Marc needs to talk to people. I'm not sure it's about the people he's talking to, but he's getting rather big names to talk to him about his problems. Yeah,
it's a place where you can vent.
Right.
But do you remember who you started with? Who was your first guest on the podcast?
Yeah, before it became strictly an interview show, the first comedic guest was Jeffrey Ross. Yeah, he was on the first episode. Before we knew what WTF was, we had a lot of ideas. We do phone interviews, we do short interviews. Sometimes people would be in the studio with me the whole time. We experimented with segments. It didn't sort of evolve into the interview show for, probably about 20 episodes.
Tell me about your book. You have a book signing today, right?
Yeah.
In the afternoon.
Yeah, Attempting Normal was a book of essays, sort of memoir-ish essays. Because of the podcast and because of, the type of tone that I have, I was offered the opportunity to do that. And it was taxing. I'd written one book before that was not that successful. It's got a bit of a cult following. But
what was the name of it?
The Jerusalem Syndrome. My Life as a Reluctant Messiah. But I didn't enjoy, book writing is a tedious task, and I don't consider myself a writer. And it's very, I got this opportunity to write this book at the busiest year of my life. But we did all right with it. I had a great editor, and I'm very proud of the book. And it's out in the world, and people who are gravitating towards it are enjoying it a lot.
Who published it?
Simon and Grau at Random House.
Cool. People have no idea how much work it takes to write a book. You saw my book. I worked 4 years on that book.
Yeah.
And it's an incredible amount of work. And you have to force yourself some days to go just sit down and do it.
It makes you really respect the writers. I mean, you write for a living, but I have friends who are geniuses in writing, and I don't have the grandiosity to say that I'm a writer, but I do know that when I focus on it, I do have a voice on the page. But once I'm doing it, I find it very engaging, and because when you work things out on paper, you do find things that you wouldn't find just sitting around thinking about something and talking about something. So once I was doing it, it was a great experience. But getting to the computer.
Exactly.
That's
that 1,000-mile trip
right,
to the
right between mind and fingers on keyboard is like, oh God, and it's just right over there. Right. I can't do it. It's too far to walk.
It's like the 1,000-pound telephone, where you have to make a call and people don't understand what that means to be catatonic. I've been through those things where you literally cannot move. You're overwhelmed, whether it's depression or whatever.
Anxiety too.
Yeah, and people say, what do you mean you can't move? The phone, just get up. But they don't understand. Your body shuts down. Your mind shuts down. It's just like you're still.
Yeah,
you just can't do it.
Exactly. Yeah, it's I find it happens more with me with just anxiety and dread. You get a good mixture of anxiety and dread going. You could
with a little fear thrown in,
and then you got depression. If you really work at those three, you can easily. Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah,
if you're lucky.
Yeah.
Depression, and then thank God for antidepressants and things like that, which I don't take.
Me neither.
I feel the feelings.
Yeah, I try to. I eat about 15 nicotine lozenges a day, and masturbate compulsively and drink a lot of coffee. But I would
same time.
Sometimes, yeah. If I have the time. You know what I mean?
Well, are cigars new? I've never seen you smoking a cigar.
I've smoked them in my life, but if I'm in Canada, I do have an appreciation of them. I'm not a regular cigar smoker, but you can get Cubans here, and it's a relatively affordable luxury. So if I'm in Canada, I'll usually sit down with a big one and spend an hour and do it.
Bringing back memories of Bill Sheft. You remember Bill in the early days?
Yeah. Does he still smoke them?
I don't think so, but I just remember him because the only one before him was George Burns.
No, he
had a cigar.
He's
with a cigar.
Yeah, I saw him recently. I did the Letterman recently, and I saw him over there. Yeah, he seems good. Yeah, but I remember Bill on stage. He definitely had that big cigar going. So did that other kid, that Canadian guy. What happened to that guy?
I don't even know who you mean. I never saw a Canadian guy with a cigar. But was that for me?
His name. Do you remember him? He was a presenter up here briefly. Young guy. He smoked a cigar. He might have had a talk show. Do you remember him? Maybe not. Fuck. I feel bad not remembering him.
That's okay. We'll come up with it later.
All right.
So what shows are you doing while you're up here? You got your own show. I think it's tonight, right? You got a show?
Damn it, I just lost it. It went out. It's all right. Yeah, I'm doing a solo show tonight. I'm doing Silverman's Gala. I did a live WTF yesterday.
A podcast?
Yeah.
Who was on?
Eddie Izzard, Seth Meyers, Trevor Noah.
Right. I was there. Yeah, that's right. Of course. You know what I'm thinking? I'm there, and I'm asking you who was there. And Big J. Okerson. Right, Big J. Okerson.
It's okay, Jeffrey. Sometimes things just go. You know what I mean?
I was thinking of it as like a podcast, like on a radio thing, and it was a big room full of people. I think of a podcast as being like a few people in a private room.
Right.
This was like a major presentation.
Right.
In a salon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. Can't remember that guy's name.
Eddie Izzard.
Damn it. Oh, Eddie Izzard was on too. You know, I'm talking about the Canadian comic. They used to do a cigar thing. Doesn't
and
matter.
Seth Meyers was on yesterday,
funny,
and that was great.
Yeah.
He was very funny, very generous, very gracious,
He's a
and
good guy.
he's a really good guy. It's nice. Well, look, hey, New York is going to be changing with entertainment-wise with what's his name, with Jimmy taking over the Tonight Show, and Seth taking over for Jimmy. So much entertainment is going to be coming from New York City. So I have a feeling you may be in New York more. Yeah, just like the old days. But are you getting to New York much?
Yeah, I was just there. I did. Yeah, Jimmy has me on. And I did Letterman. I did panel on Letterman for the first time, and I hadn't been on his show in 11 years. He said, I didn't know that. Yeah, and I mean, like, I think what we all should learn is never underestimate Lorne Michaels ever.
Yeah, right.
That he will own all of show business eventually.
He's certainly very close right now. Amazing. Everything's coming out of 30 Rock. And
Fascinating.
that's what Seth said. He said he doesn't mind leaving SNL because he's still going to be with Lorne. He's still going to be in the same building, 30 Rock.
Just go downstairs, and there you go. There's your new home.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's great.
So anyway, I'm looking forward to coming on with you soon. Hopefully, we could do a little phoner. And
We'll push that book. I hear you put 4 years into it.
Yeah, where'd you hear that?
Some guy told me.
4 years. Yeah,
4 fucking years. Yeah.
3 years. 3 years to do all the interviews.
Yeah.
And then a year to edit because I had 500 pages.
And what did you end up with?
When you're 250.
Wow.
So I have hours and hours of audio.
DF Sweedler and say you didn't make the cut. Sorry, but
Yeah, sorry about that. And he's the only one who did. We cut out Seinfeld and we cut out Billy Crystal and just left D.F. Sweedler.
no, that's an amazing book. Yeah. You know, I think that would be a surprisingly interesting book if you did the D.F. Sweedler story. Yeah.
I'm not even going to comment. Yeah, it would probably be a very interesting book.
That must have been challenging to get Billy Crystal talking.
I flew out to L.A. to do that. It was the only one that I went to L.A. for. Everybody else came to the
get anything out of him.
No, actually, he was very generous. And well, you know why? No. Well, I don't know. No, because he doesn't do a lot of interviews. But he did. But he had remembered that we had met many years before. Jack Rollins had introduced us a long time before, so we got pictures of him pointing to his teeth because Jack Rollins had originally wanted to do a sitcom about me, about a dentist in show business.
Yeah.
And he thought Billy would be perfect to play me, but Billy was tied up at the time.
Yeah.
And so he brought me to his office to meet him, and that's how I met Billy and Robin many years ago.
Right.
So in the middle of the interview, Billy says to me, wait a minute, I know you. You're the funny dentist, right? So anyway, he did a great interview. We did like 45 minutes, and it was very cool.
He's got
a lot of old stories, great stories.
Jack Rollins once, and I somehow blew it.
He's 97 years old.
I know, but there was a brief period there where he was going to start managing again, or co-managing with Kerry Hoffman. And Kerry had set up a meeting with me and Jack Rollins, and I got there early, and it was just me and Jack, and I didn't really know how to talk, you know. So I introduced myself, and we sat there, and I said, "So what can you do for me?" And apparently that was the end of that.
That was the end of the conversation.
Yeah, Kerry Hoffman said, he said, "You blew it. You asked Jack Rollins what he could do for you." What was I supposed to ask him? I'm sorry, I didn't realize that I was, that was an honest question.
It was a very honest question. It was the way you couched the question, I guess, that mattered.
It was disrespectful.
I could probably top you in those areas of where I messed myself up, because there was a point a few years ago when Jack Rollins said to me, and I think I have it on tape, "Why didn't I ever manage you?"
Yeah.
And I said to him, I don't know whether to be very happy now or to kill myself, to just go to the terrace and jump off. I said, because I didn't know that was an option, that you would have managed me.
Yeah.
He said, why didn't that ever come about? Because I had known him for so many years, and I brought him projects. I did a film called I Am Woody, about a mob boss obsessed with Woody Allen.
Yeah.
And I sent him the script, and he goes, Woody could have written this himself. He goes, I love the script. He goes, I can't show it to Woody, and he wouldn't tell me why. He said, there's a reason I can't show it to him, but I had Jack Rollins sent me up to Herb Sargent at Saturday Night Live, and when I met with Herb said to me, I don't even have to look at your material. If Jack Rollins says you're funny, you're funny.
Yeah, so you really did fuck up, didn't you, Jeff?
I totally fucked up. Yeah. You know why?
Why?
I'll tell you this story. I don't usually tell it. I brought a girl with me on a business meeting to Saturday Night Live They wanted to look at my comedy films. I was doing bizarre films,
Yeah.
like at the time, Alan Zweibel
Yeah.
saw the films and gave me my start.
Yeah.
And I was doing films like, you know, several men were arrested for smearing cream cheese on the ankles of elderly women who wore their stockings rolled down like bagels.
Yeah.
You know, the old women with
Sure.
the it looks like bagels. I want to put. So I got my grandmother, who was so nice, to put on a phony Jewish accent, and she let me put cream cheese on her ankles, and she said, "Jeffrey, only for you would I do this." And I brought her up to Saturday Night Live, and I met Alan Zweibel, and I was doing a lot of films like that,
Yeah.
like the Masters of Disguise,
Yeah.
were master criminals who would commit crimes disguised as inanimate objects.
Yeah.
So it started as two men disguised as coats rob a hat store.
Yeah.
They come in over the arms of two other men,
Yeah.
and they say, "Just act natural, like wear your coats, and nobody will get hurt."
Right, yeah.
So I did a series of these crimes. So I brought them to SNL,
Yeah.
and they're like, "We never saw anything like this. This is amazing. We're going to set up a meeting for you with John Head, who was in charge of film acquisition at the time." I'm like, "Great, this is very exciting." So this is my wild days. I meet this crazy chick, this model, and I said, "Oh, you want to come to SNL with me?"
Yeah, you
And
thought
she-
like, I'll make an impression.
Try the big shot syndrome.
Yeah, sure.
So I take her to the meeting.
Yeah.
I take her to the meeting, and who's there? Dennis Miller is there.
Yeah.
And he wants to meet the girl. So
Yeah.
I walk in, I say, "Dennis, this is so-and-so, whatever." And he says, "Do you mind if I sit in on your meeting?"
Yeah.
Now, he couldn't have given a shit about my films. He wanted to meet the girl, right?
Yeah, sure.
So I show them my films, and I'll never forget John Head's words to my dying day. I'll never forget. He said to me, "I see no reason why you shouldn't be doing films for SNL."
Right.
He goes, "These are great.
Yeah.
I'm going to set up a meeting for you with Lorne next week."
Yeah.
Right? So in the meantime, he gets the girl's number.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes out with him that weekend, and they're partying with Robin Williams and Billy Crystal and whoever was in town.
Head is.
Not me.
Yeah. Sure.
No, not Head. The girl and Dennis Miller.
Sure. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. I call the next week for my appointment with Lorne Michaels, and John Head says to me, "Listen, Jeffrey, I'm sorry, but I can't make the appointment for you. You have to call Dennis Miller because he liked your stuff so much, he wants to handle it. So it has to go through him now."
And he just wanted the chick.
And he just wanted the check, and he never took my call. Never would answer my call. So finally I get him because we're hanging out at Columbus Cafe. I don't know if you remember Columbus Cafe in the old days,
Yeah.
the biggest celebrity hangout ever.
Right.
So I show up. So we used to hang out there. I would see him all the time. So I said, "Dennis, what's the story, man? You're not taking my call." He goes, "Jeffrey, you want to write for me?" I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely." He goes, "They want me to do remotes. But that's not my thing. But that's what you do. You shoot shit on the street, man. You go out and do crazy stuff. Come up with 3 ideas for me. If I like them, I'll pitch them to the show."
Yeah.
He goes, "But I want them by tomorrow."
Right.
Stayed up all night. Never answered my call. Never got back to me on it. My whole life has been about that, trying to forget that incident.
Well, Jeffrey, what's your part in it?
Oh, I have a very big part in it. I already said it. Trying to be a big shot. Who takes a girl on a business meeting?
Yeah, but I
Who
think
would be that
I think you're
stupid?
going easy on yourself. I think what we learned here is Dennis Miller is, that was out of line, dude.
Oh, it was completely out of line. Completely out of line. And I never had the opportunity to really address it. Maybe he'll see this.
Yeah, I think I think you owe Jeffrey an apology, and if you can, Dennis. And I don't know you; I've never met you, and I don't know how we would get along. I assume it would be difficult, but clearly, if at any point in your life, you find it in your heart to do something honest, apologizing to Jeffrey Gurian would be one of those things. And honestly, I hope that piece of ass was worth it.
It wasn't. It never is, man.
Because you crushed this guy. Look what he's doing. We're sitting on a patio. He's dressed like a clown, and we're. He could have been somebody, Dennis. Huh?
I could have been a contender. Now I have to go into a garage, very depressed, and try a podcast.
Sure.
Is WTF taken?
Yeah, it is. It is. But you can just do your version of it. That seems to be a popular thing to do. Yeah.
Yeah, everybody's ripping everybody off. Well, on that note, I don't know what else. I'm so glad I got a chance to tell you that story because it's not a story I share a lot, but I figured you could appreciate when we're talking.
It made me mad at Dennis.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's. I was out of my mind.
The least you could have done is throw you the fucking bone for getting him the piece of ass, right?
Exactly.
I mean, at least indulge you a little bit as opposed to just exacerbate the injury. Here, stay up all night and write me some ideas. I'll be fucking the girl you brought over. All right, and then not taking your call after that? What an asshole.
And introducing her to everybody in the comedy world who could do her no good and leave me out, right?
Well, but on some level now that makes him a better man. He helped out the comedy world by passing her around. Where's that girl now?
What I was told, she had to leave New York as the result of a drug problem. But seriously.
Of course
but
she
that's,
did.
That story.
She was a clown fucking drug addict.
And I still have her picture on my wall as a reminder to never.
Don't.
I swear to God,
You
I
fucking
swear to God,
crazy man.
Never, because she wrote such a cool thing when I first met her, and I said to myself, I need to have this as a reminder to never ever try to impress somebody with that kind of. I mean, what bullshit? Who takes a girl on a business? I still can't believe where my mind had to be to do something like that. Is that? I mean, it's. There's no words to express it, but I needed to tell you that.
It makes sense.
We do shit like that. Men do that. Men have lost kingdoms.
Well, yeah,
look at Petraeus.
Go with me. It's like, look, I'm going to go in. You can sit here. You know what I mean? Look around a little bit, maybe.
But you know what I've learned also? That in all the things I get invited to, no one ever sent me an invitation that depended on who I brought with me. Mm-hmm. No one ever said, you can come to this thing if you bring like the hottest girl we ever saw.
Well,
all the invitations come to me.
You could have become that guy. Maybe Dennis did you a favor. Like, you know, he could have went the other way. It's like, this guy Gurian gets the good chicks. You know, let's have him to the party. You could have been that. Maybe he did you a favor.
Who knows? I mean,
That's
it is.
a good spin on it.
Yeah, it is what it is. But for me, it was an important life lesson to honor yourself. You know, that's where self-esteem comes from.
So
it's not that it was on your own.
Let's reframe it then. Dennis, thank you for helping Jeffrey. He learned an important and valuable lesson today, that grandiosity and trying to impress people doesn't get you anywhere. Honor yourself. That's what you taught this man. You should sit there as you're, you know, bloviating about right-wing bullshit and just take a moment to be grateful that you helped this man.
But I'll still accept the apology. Anyway, it was great to see you, man, as always.
Good to see you, man. All right.